Let's go! Oh, hello there, Mr. Broder here. You must be looking for a video on responsibility. Well, you came to the right place, but you just caught me in the middle of playing a video game. You know, just trying to win against some of my 8th grade students. Just don't tell them my username. Anywho, we've got to get to the Brodeurland classroom, so let's do this thing. 1, 2, 3. Now that we're back in the Brodeurland classroom, we've got to talk about responsibility, but you know the drill here. We can't get this show rolling until we get some cheesy intro inspirational music. There we go. So what are the 3 topics we're going to talk about today here on responsibility? Well, I'm glad you asked. First, we got to talk about what is responsibility. Second, how can I be responsible? And third, how can I achieve my goals and my dreams through responsibility? Those are the topics that we're going to talk about today here on the Brodeurland Show. So without further ado, we got to talk about what is the Brodeurland definition of responsibility. Well, let's take a look. The Brodeurland definition for responsibility is this: being dependable, making good choices, and taking accountability for your actions, whether those actions are good or those actions are bad. Now that you've heard the Brodeurland definition for responsibility, it's time to dive in. It's time to figure out, how can I bring responsibility into my life? How can I achieve responsibility? So without further ado, let's dive into our first quote right here. All right, so our first quote this week is by Abraham Lincoln. And Abraham Lincoln says, "You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today." So after hearing this first quote, what really comes to mind each and every day for myself, and probably for a lot of you guys, is the word procrastination. I mean, how many times do we get assigned an essay, or you're just like, oh, I'm not looking forward to practice. Will it rain, please, and please let it get canceled? But here's the deal. We can wish for the rain to cancel our practice. We can wish that our teacher will postpone the test or that essay. But no matter what, it's still going to come, whether it gets pushed back or not. We've got to take the responsibility. You can wish all of your life for things to be easy. You can wish all your life to have less problems or no problems. But here's the deal. You're still going to have those problems. Life isn't always going to be easy. So how do I find solutions? How can I stop pushing things back? Because it's going to come no matter if I want it or not. So what do I got to do? I've got to try to get better. I've got to try to work better so things do become easier. I've got to find solutions to those problems because I'm going to have them. But don't push things back. Don't procrastinate. It's just going to mount things. It's just going to make things worse. You've got to move forward with a purpose. Move forward with responsibility so you can keep continuing to be that best version of yourself. Now, we got to dive into the second quote so we can take this first quote, add another layer to it, and continue to march forward in learning, how can I bring responsibility to my life? Our next quote this week says this: responsibility is accepting that you are the cause and the solution of the matter. So after listening to the second quote, I can really see the layers being added on our talk here about responsibility, and here's why. With responsibility, you've got to take ownership for the causes and for the solutions that you create when you take responsibility. You see, at Brodeurland, I always say this motto, that you've got to go and be a goldfish. Now you might be thinking, what type of motto is that? Be a goldfish? Are you kidding me, Mr. Broder? No, and here's why. They say, what is the happiest animal in the world? And it's a goldfish, because it's got a 10-second memory. So go and be a goldfish. Now, you may be thinking, is that a true thing, Mr. Broder? Well, I don't care if it's true, fiction, myth, or legend. Here's the power of being a goldfish. If things go wrong, if you cause things to not go the way you were planning it, but you took that responsibility, that's okay. Just don't dwell on it. You can't let it get to your head and bring you down. No, you've got to reflect on it for that 10 seconds, for that little bit of time, and figure out a way that you can move forward from it, that you can gain that knowledge from that failure and really march forward and make it a success. But also, here's the power of being a goldfish. Maybe you did have success. Maybe you had awesome things happen to you. You can't let that get to your head. You can't create an ego. Definitely not. No, you still got to reflect on it. And you still got to ask yourself, okay, From the success, can I repeat it? From the success, can I keep moving forward? That's taking responsibility. That's taking ownership. And that's being a goldfish. Now, the key here in Brodeurland is we got to finish up this show. That's right. And we've got to take a look at this final quote for responsibility and really wrap things up and take action and bring responsibility to our life. So let's take a look at it right here. Les Brown says this: if you take responsibility for yourself, you will develop a hunger to accomplish your dreams. Here it is. You just heard the final quote. And you know, here on the Brodeurland show, I love to finish with an action, right? You've got to take responsibility and you have now got to put it to action, because I know for all my viewers out there and all my students out there, you guys have dreams, you have goals, you got aspirations. But in order to achieve those, you can't sit around and push things off. No, you've got to take responsibility. You've got to do it now. You can't just push things off and wish for things to be easier. No, you've got to take that action, right? And we just talked about earlier, you've got to be a goldfish. You've got to take ownership of the situation, of the causes, of the solutions that you make on a regular basis, right? Don't dwell on things. Put forth, march forward, take action. That's the only way you're going to achieve those dreams, achieve those goals, achieve those aspirations in your life. You can't just hope and wish. No, we can have those dreams, and that's why they call them dreams. But if you want to make them a reality, you've got to take that responsibility. You've got to take that ownership. And you have got to blaze your trail and move forward with that purpose. So always remember, you make each week a special week by just you being you. There's no one in the whole world like you except you, and I like you just the way you are. It's good that you exist, but you've got to go out there. You've got to take the responsibility. You've got to take the ownership. You've got to be that goldfish so you can be that best version of yourself. Until next time, Broder out. Peace.